Welcome back, everyone. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how we can integrate the Airtable into our n8n workflow. So if you guys remember, we created this table in the previous video where we have the order number, details, date, and order status. And in this video, we're going to figure out how we can get all of this data inside our AI workflow. In order to do that, we have to come over to n8n. We have to add a new node, and this is going to be our Airtable node. Now, there are a lot of things that you can do in Airtable. You have the ability to check out your database and to figure out the schema of your database, which essentially means you're able to get info on the different tables that are there and to get info on the different columns that are inside those tables. Now, in terms of record actions, this is where you're able to manipulate the actual data that's inside one of your tables. You can create a new record, you can update records, delete records, get, search, and update. So those are the functions you can do inside a table. And then you can also trigger your workflow on a new Airtable event. What this means is if you insert or if your customer inserts a new row into their Airtable, you as the automation engineer can then activate a workflow in n8n that will do something with that record. So for example, if there is a new lead that was inserted, you can have a workflow which is going to send a welcome message to that lead. So that is an overview of what is available. Let's go ahead and click on search records. So search records is going to allow us to get multiple records from our Airtable, and it will allow us to filter them down by a certain formula. So let's create our credential so that we can connect to our Airtable. The preferred method for doing this is using an access token, mainly because it is much easier to set this up. To create our access token, we're going to go over to airtable.com/create. You don't even need to type this out. This should bring you to the Builder Hub where you can create a personal access token. So I'm going to go over and click on Create Personal Access Token, and I'm just going to call this n8n course. I'm going to add the scopes to be read, write, and we should also be able to read the tables from a schema. In terms of which bases we want to give access, we're just going to give that access to our database. Okay, let me just make sure that was all we needed. So if I scroll down, read, write, and read again from the schema. Okay, I'm going to create our token and make sure to copy paste this token into a safe place because this is the only time this token is going to be displayed to you. Now, if you do indeed lose the token, it's very simple to just come back, delete that token, and just create a new one. So now that we have our token, we're going to go over to our workflow. I'm going to paste it in, hit save. And now let's see if this actually worked. So when we go over to base, this should load in our database. Perfect. And then tables should give us our orders. Okay, sweet. So I'm going to leave everything as is. I'm going to hit test step, and this should give us all the items inside our Airtable. We have 25 of them, and we can see we have order number, details, date, and order status. Now, if we want to play around with some of these options, we can do that as well. So here we can say we want to download attachments, which we don't have. We can select the output fields, which we do have. So we're going to say select just the order number, the order details, and the order status. So we'll skip over the order date and let's see if that is reflected correctly. Sweet, so now we only have the order number, details, and status shown to us. Let me change this to a specific limit. So what we can also do is many times you might have, say, like 1,000 records in a table, and you don't want to display all of them because that is going to be putting a serious strain on your memory and your storage. So many times we have this limit because you don't even want to accidentally have that be triggered, even though you make sure that, oh, I'm going to filter, oh, I'm going to do this and that to restrict that. We still make sure that we keep some sort of a limit that is going to avoid our system from accidentally crashing just because from some loophole or from some edge case we ended up extracting 1,000 records or 10,000 records. So here I'm just going to limit this to 10 to see if this is working correctly. You can see that we have 10 items, and I'm just going to make this 100 records so that we are safely extracting data from our table. Okay, so that takes care of these options. We can also sort our data. So here I'm just going to sort by our order number. I'll just make this ascending. And you can see that we are sorting in an ascending manner. So all of this is fine. We don't actually need all of this for our example. What we actually need is the filter by formula. So here I'm going to show you how we can filter by, say, the order status. So here we're going to do order underscore status, and very easily we're just going to say this should be equal to placed. So we're going to look at only the ones that were placed, not the ones that were delivered or shipped. Okay, so that is 9 items. We have placed, placed, placed. All of these orders were placed, not delivered or shipped. Okay, so let's now look at how we can restrict it based on the order number, because this is actually what we'll be doing in our tool when we connect it to the AI agent. So we'll say order number is equal to, let's just paste in one of these. Okay, so that returns a record. So there is our order, which matches this order number over here that we have placed. So that takes care of a lot of the basic actions that we can take with Airtable. If you want to explore some of the more advanced filters, you can just come over here and open up the more info, and that should give you sort of a reference guide for all the different things that you can do. And I'll just show you one of these so that you have an understanding of how you might go about implementing these. So here we have some of these text functions. You can concatenate multiple data values, but what we're going to do is we're just going to implement this find function, which might actually be useful to a customer because they might want to find and figure out which orders contain a specific product. So for example, if we go over here and if we replace this with find, we might want to know which products contain a hair mask. So here we have hair mask, which is what we're searching for. And then we have where we want to search that, and that is inside order details. Okay, so let's just make sure that this is indeed correct. So we have string to find, where to search, and this is optional. So this is going to be by default 0, and we're totally fine with that. We just want to look inside the entire string. Okay, so let me go back, and here let us do a test of this, and let me make sure we don't have any other restrictions. We don't. Sweet. So let's go ahead and do a test. Let me go over to the side, and you can see that we only have 7 items returned, and each one of these has hair mask inside the string. And you can see it doesn't have to come in the beginning of the string. It can come in the later part or in the middle as well, and it will be able to find it. So that concludes our video on the basic manipulations in Airtable. In the next video, we're going to be showing you how we can connect this to our AI agent so that we can start answering questions like, what is going on with my order number, the order status, what all did I order, and so on. So, with that, thank you so much for joining here. Be sure to like and subscribe and check out the links in the description to get more resources. If you are a business owner and want to implement AI or automation into your business, you can reach out to us and I'll be happy to chat with you. Thank you so much and see you in the next video.